Hello, welcome back. So the previous painting that's on, you can see it in the videos. My last video, while I was working on the piece and sharing it on social media, Instagram to be exact, the piece was claimed before it was finished. Really lovely story there, and I talk about that on the video, so I won't talk about it again. But so that brought me to doing more of these. I mean, I had always intended to. So off camera, I've done this piece. And why the swirls, you may ask? So these will be cosmopolitans, Drake made famous in Sex and the City. But the spiral was the idea because cosmopolitans are also called cosmos. And if you say it slightly differently, they're cosmos, or, the great heavens, then the spiral makes some sense. I do have intention, as you can see with the other piece, to do another grid. This one will be martinis, and I have about 20 other ideas in my head as well. Excuse me. So, thought I'd let you see it getting started. So I kind of been thinking about how this background will start. And the idea was, since this has a planetorial, a hint to the planets, the cosmos, I thought I'd start with a sun. That will then branch out into these pieces. I don't want to take this too far because just as in the previous piece I had just sort of random coloring going on. Random might be too strong of a word, but so I want to sort of deal with that as I go forward. With this piece as well. So I had a co-worker who works some of these oil sticks, and she really has just started working with them. And she was asking me about or commenting on the fact, looking for my rag, that they behave very differently in the winter and the summer. And she's just now started working in warm weather. And so these things get very slurpy, much more slurpy in the warm weather. So they're a little more fluid, in some cases easier to work with than they are when it's cold out. So now the print has this little cherry in it, or olive, depending on what drink it. They're not as dry as I hope they would be. But in this case, the cosmos is not garnished. Oh, that's not going to be too bad. Is not garnished with a piece of fruit in the glass, but instead a lime wedge. It's going to be interesting trying to find the right pink as I go forward. So with this case, I'll have a little latitude and where the garnish is positioned. So hopefully that'll bring another element to the painting. Right off the bat, a little curious about how this is going to work. So this is the fun part, is starting out another new ideas. I don't really know exactly how I'm going to take this. What's going to work and what's not going to work, so you get to sort of go along for the ride. It's like, I'm thinking it's going to be, I don't know. I was just debating the shadow on that right now. And I don't know if it's going to go all of them the same way or each one slightly different. And same way, like that's the single light source, or same way as in that is always the light source. And that's the kind of decisions I like to make while working on the piece, which sometimes gets me into trouble, particularly if I try to change my mind. But that's the thing with working with a medium like this, it's an opaque medium, or relatively opaque. So I can come back in and change my mind. I don't know if you can hear the yard work going on. So rather than have you suffer through my staggered thoughts, I'll switch this to time lapse and keep going. Because I tend to stop in the thought process while I paint. So I'll stop mid-word, as you may have noticed. You might have noticed, but you were too nice to say anything. So of course I love seeing people's comments. I get a few. I'd love to have more. So tell me what you think about where these are going, and I'll give more information as this progresses. So, on to time lapse. All right, excuse me. So clearly I've made some progress, continuing to work on this piece. And I know I left a cliffhanger before I went to the time lapse, but you know, what? Thought I was going to remember that? I am seeing that I am getting a bit of ink that isn't quite dried. So you can see how dark that is there maybe. It's just a function of the ink having not completely set up. Now the previous one I did, the between the printing and then getting and starting the painting on it was a lot more time due to my wife having a knee surgery. So there was a bit of time between starting the piece and getting in here. And my favorite friend, Scam Likely calling. So I am getting a little more ink bleed than I have on that one because there was a good 2-3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks almost, between doing the printing and starting the painting. So one of the options you have, I keep just a box cutter knife. And you can scrape out, like if I make a big enough mistake, I'll do that. And that may have taken off, and this is nice thick paper. Yeah, see that took off the ink as well, or most of it. So we got a much better color. So that's another, hesitate to use the word method of erasing, but you know, that's another way you can adjust what's going on. And I use that occasionally. Sometimes I'll get the wrong color, like there'll be smudge on the paint stick, and I will have to use that blade to just get rid of some of it. And then the other thing I've been playing with is using the position of the line. So you can see it changes places on the glass. That just adds an additional element of movement in the piece. And just, you know, bounces your eye around a little bit more. Because as an artist, it's, you know, my responsibility to control your eye, or at least give your eye a direction to move through the piece. And one of those, so one of those is, you know, compositional elements. So like, I really wanted to do this swirl, and so as I started this piece, I had this central yellow sort of center of the cosmos, and see how this yellow, so I had not really, you know, considered that, but I think I'm going to have this yellow be an alternate or a counterposto spiral within the larger scheme of things. And that's another, so using the line, so using structural elements to move your eye through and then color elements to move your eye through the painting makes the painting more engaging. Before I came to the studio today, I was watching Sister Wendy. I recommend Googling her. Just search Sister Wendy. Fascinating Carmelite sequestered nun who always had a passion for art, and brings such a wonderful discussion of art making and a true passion, a passion that is sometimes lacking from professionals. And she's very knowledgeable. It's not just that she's enjoyable, which she is, but there's just such this infectious impassioned charm to go with her deep knowledge of the work she discussed, and it's all of art history. So that's my little plug. If you want to get some art history education, go check out Sister Wendy. I have no idea where I was going with that, telling you that. Oh, that's what it was. But she's at one point is talking about Cezanne, and Cezanne has a number of different, which I didn't realize, a number of different paintings of the card players. And the whole thing is oriented just, table here, card players there, straight on, very flat. No spiral, and that's the thing, it's like, I never, I never oriented perfectly right up across the line. In the previous painting and the next painting, I did exactly that. Never break a rule, including the rule, never break a rule. But like with this piece, I didn't put this start of the spiral in the center of the painting. It's down low. It may or may not be centered. I don't really know. I've never measured it. But that gives the thing more visual engagement. So as I continue to work on this, I want to remind you to, if you like what you're seeing, to subscribe. I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts on what these are doing. Is this more engaging than the previous one? Yeah, I'd just love to know what you think. Please leave a comment. And of course, there's the whole, if you leave a comment, the way the whole algorithm things work, the more people comment on things, the more likely others will be able to follow this. And because I'm talking, I forgot a crucial element here. But the more comments are left, the more apt YouTube is going to let other people know that these videos exist. The more people know about them, the more followers I can get, I can actually get to the point where I can make a little money doing this. I do make a little money with the artwork, but that's independent of making a little money with it. I thought I'd put in the next shadow so I don't repeat the same mistake. So definitely give it a like. Thumbs up if you would. If you're not already a subscriber. If you subscribe, of course, and get notifications, you'll know when the next phase of this piece pops up. So you can follow its development. I will point out that the previous painting of this, what is fast becoming a series, someone saw the painting and actually decided to purchase it, didn't consummate the deal, but decided to purchase it while I was still working on the piece. Hopefully that will repeat itself So as this nears completion, you may want to get yourself in line. And of course, if you're a subscriber, you'll know when that's happening. And that person reached out to me on social media, in that case through Instagram, which is Greig Artist. But you can always reach out to me here as well by comment, or you can go to my website, greigleach.com, and leave a message there. So, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I will continue to work on this off camera, and hopefully it'll become something. I'll be back in a couple days or so when it is closer to being finished. But thanks a lot. I truly appreciate it. And again, paint what you know what you paint. Hopefully like what you paint. I do like Cosmos more than Manhattans. Not that I drink any of them. But, you know. Bartenders come in two modes, heavy drinkers and somewhere between light and not at all. Of course, that's true of society in general, right? Artists, everybody. But one thing I've never done, well, I did it once, I've never done it since. I never work on art under the influence of anything. That's neither here nor there. So again, thank you so much for taking time to watch. I hope to see you soon again, and check back this painting. And again, leave a comment. This painting hopefully will be done before too terribly long.